All right, Mr. G, we're rolling.
That's it. We're in.
All right, how you feeling?
Felt good.
Yeah,
Felt tired today, but
yeah,
it's always the sleepy eyes for 1 or 2 hours when I get in, and then it's
yeah.
better.
What time do you wake up?
Today's 6:30.
Is that average, or that was a little later?
That's when I have 7 a.m. client. That's average.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like
Wake
30 minutes
up,
before.
grab and go. I don't know how you do that. I need like, that's a rush day for me. Like if I have a let's say 7:30 client, I need to be up an hour and a half before.
Oh shit.
I need to eat. I need to make breakfast. I meditate. I take time for me because once I get here and let's say I work 3, 4, 5 hours
Yeah.
back to back, if I don't give myself me time, I get crushed the rest of the day.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, for me, if I wake up, I used to do that, like at least an hour early.
Yeah.
And the problem is that I can't get out of bed. Like I don't have that sense of urgency, so I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna roll around, and it's like, oh shit, I gotta go.
Yeah. But you bring your burrito with you.
Yeah.
So at
Oh
least
no,
you...
I'm prepped. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
I
Yeah,
prepped the night before.
Maybe that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's why I wake up so early. Because
Yeah.
I wake up, I make food.
Yeah, you prep everything.
I make coffee. The coffee process alone takes me about 15 minutes. I get ready, then I go. So.
Yeah, no, not me, dog. My clothes are like right outside the door. My breakfast is ready in the fridge.
Get out, dude.
Like I'm
Ready.
I wake up, I change, I'm out. Pretty much.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
All right, well, I might take some notes and do that. Yeah.
It's just prep time.
That's it. That's it. So, talk to us, dude. The people want to know what the hell you do here.
What do I do here?
You're just standing around all the time. You're here. You train a few clients. You know, I know we're going through a transition phase right now.
Yeah.
So, like, what I want to get out of everybody is like, what the hell do you do here? What can people expect from you?
Yeah. First of all, I'm here to help. I think that's the biggest thing, right? Of course, I'm a personal trainer, so the goal is to do personal training.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna be the kind of guy that's gonna be walking around and ask you, with that little voice like, "Hey, how's it going? I saw you were doing that. Okay, so let me help you out." No, like I let you do your thing.
Yeah.
And if I see something, I'm like, okay, you should definitely do that better. I'll come up to
Yeah.
you, but.
See something, say something.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm not a salesman on the floor. I'm not trying to sell you on personal training. If you see the value, great. But if not, I'll just give you a tip or two, and you'll be on your way. Maybe more tips if you're in danger, basically. But yeah, that's what I'm here for when I'm standing on the floor. Other than that, I'm basically in charge of overseeing personal training now. That's going to be the new role I'm going to step into. I want what I really want is for all members to feel like they have a way to get to what they want to accomplish with us. Mostly when it comes to performance goals. I think there's an issue when you want to get to a certain goal and 2 years later you still at the same point. I think that there's a missed opportunity there. Either we missed something or you missed something as a member, but I'm here to make sure that at least there's communication and there are ways to get you to where you want to be.
Yeah, like you open up that opportunity for people.
Yeah.
I've been at a lot of CrossFit gyms where you see 2 or 3 years pass by and it's the same members and they're kind of just going through the motions and they're not really making any progress. But a lot of those gyms don't offer that opportunity. They don't say, hey, we have coaches who have the skill set and the knowledge and the ability to guide you through a process that's going to get you to where you want to go. So I think the fact that, number one, we have those people that can do that, but we're also creating and we're making it like easily accessible to just, hey, make the jump and take that opportunity. I think the fact that we're making those processes and those systems easy and readily available for people is going to be very powerful for us. Not that we haven't done it in the past, but the way that we're going to be going about it, I think it's going to be nice. And it's great to have you spearheading the thing. Which kind of brings me to like how you got here. So like,
Yeah.
you started off as a trainer in Weston. You did an internship with athletics.
Athletics rehab, yeah.
And then how the hell did you end up here?
Yeah. So I started personal training back in Weston. Did a couple of years there. I was still in school back then. I was working on initially bachelor's in business management, and then I got into I didn't like it, so I transitioned to what do you call it? Physical education, kinesiology, so exercise science basically.
Cool.
And through that, I got my personal training certification. I started personal training.
So you were going to school in Weston?
From Weston, but to FIU.
Oh, got it.
So there
you
was
were
some online
classes,
and some
okay,
in-person classes.
Yeah. And then when you started training in Weston, what was that like? Like you didn't have any experience, right? You just had a
No.
certification and you started.
I had a cert. I
Yeah.
had coached like a family member and 2 friends.
Yeah.
And that was it. But they were willing to take me in at that gym.
Cool. What'd you think of it? How'd you like PT?
The environment itself, I liked the personal training job. I saw real quick that you can be the coach that does anything and everything, or you can have your population, and it's 10 times more fulfilling when you get to the point where you can kind of pick and choose because you know yourself better and you know who you like to work with and who you don't. When you start, you kind of have to try and see what works for you.
Yeah.
So I got exposed to a lot of like true Gen Pop,
Yeah.
like, you know,
General
30 to
population.
50-year-old people. Not really into fitness, but they know they have to do it to be healthy. So, you know, you talk to them, really good conversations, but they're not here to like perform or, you know.
They want to do just enough.
Yeah. Oh, that's them. Yeah, just enough. And they want a good convo. Like that's the social skill development was huge for me.
Yeah.
When I started.
Great, man. That's awesome.
So I feel like I grew a lot from that, but like financially, it didn't really make sense to stay there long term.
Yeah.
But very grateful for the opportunity. Had a good time, and then I graduated along the way, and I was looking for more opportunities, and then I found you on IG.
The gram.
Along the years, and at some point, I don't know. I think you posted a video that I was like, wow, that's the place. That's the kind of place I want to be at.
Cool.
And then I see the location. I'm like, oh shit, it's in Miami. And then I kept that in the back of my mind. And then we had this over COVID, the Real Movement community thing.
Yeah.
That we had joined for a bit.
Oh, true. We joined it at the same time.
Exactly.
Correct.
And I connected you
about that.
through that.
That's
and I mean, we didn't stay that long. I think you stayed even shorter than I did.
Yeah.
But it was cool to connect. And then I asked you, hey, like I'd love to like come see the place. And I thought you were the owner, actually.
Oh,
I think
that's
something
funny.
like that.
That's funny. Yeah.
And you just said, yeah, come through. Here's my number. Call me or whatever. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh shit. Like, I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
Because usually people just talk and
Yeah.
nothing happens. So you're good at like, okay, just come, do something. Let's do something.
Yeah.
You know?
And so when the first time I met you, was that when so Lise did a seminar here?
Yeah.
And then you came
Yeah.
to that seminar,
Yeah.
and I was like,
Still COVID. Yeah.
still yeah.
We
we all had
like
masks
messed
on.
up and
That's
yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
So you took that opportunity. You came down here. It's funny because yesterday I was trying to get like Lewis's story, and it was very similar, right? We met on Instagram. Well, with him it was a little different. Like he got referred to me by a friend who used to be a member.
Oh yeah.
From way out in Swampscott, Massachusetts. But so you're out in Weston. We meet on Instagram because we're both following the same like training program / coach. And then you come here for a seminar. You got to see the space. It was still during the pandemic. And then I think it was something like, hey, there might be an opportunity opening up soon. Come do PT here.
Exactly.
You're gonna make a little bit more money. And again, I want to bring this up because I think it's awesome how people that end up here get attracted to the place first, and then they see the community, they see the opportunity. We're also in mother-loving Brickell, like who doesn't want to be out here, right? Like when you see Miami, like this is Miami, right? Or South Beach, but it's right here.
Yeah.
So then you took the leap, right? I remember you
Basically.
having the conversation with your parents, like, "Yo, I'm doing this thing. I'm gonna peace out," and then you did it. And we helped you find a roommate. You moved in with Sarah, and just made the whole thing happen. So like, what was that like? Leaving the house, you get here, you're struggling to get clients. How the hell do you end up teaching CrossFit? Like, you don't even do CrossFit, bro. Like, how'd you end up? How was that?
Doing all that, yeah. Yeah, no, so at the time I was still living with my parents, and so I tried it for like a couple months to come, at least spend time here, if not working here. But I think I got one personal training client pretty quickly because of you or Troy, I don't remember. But at least I had that one person to see, so I had to come.
So you were driving it 40 minutes every other day.
45 minutes to come, and then 45 minutes to an hour to get back home.
It's dedicated, dude.
And I think I was still working at Midtown, like the gym I was at
in
before,
Weston.
in Weston.
Wow.
So I was doing the commute and then getting back and then doing the hours. So after a couple months, I was like, yo, I gotta find a place there because that's not sustainable. At least not for me. That's not the life I wanted to live, really. So we found that opportunity with Sarah. She was looking for a roommate. So I was like, great, let's do it. And that happened. And then I started trying to look for clients. And, thanks to you, thanks to the gym, I was able to get like a jump start. So that I wasn't not waiting around, but, it takes time to build relationships and find people, especially when you're not from the area.
Yeah.
So that helped a lot, and so from that I was able to spend more time at the gym, connect with the members, but it was still pretty not shy, but a reserved time for me because I really wanted to focus on those hours of personal training that I had.
Yeah.
And since the value felt more than what I was doing before, I felt like I had to do like a lot of work for each client, which you have to, but it got to the point where I was feeling kind of drained from those sessions.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't used to invest myself in the sessions that much.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, like things starting evolving, and it was time for me to at some point to get more leads for personal training. And so what a better way to do that than starting to get involved in CrossFit, because that's also what we do here.
Yeah.
I would argue it's probably the main activity, the CrossFit for the members. So I started shadowing classes, evening classes, and eventually with the renovations that we got into, I was needed to do CrossFit classes on my own, like to lead them. And from one thing to the next, I got to coach CrossFit. So I got exposed to the CrossFit population.
How do you like it?
I actually really like it. Not necessarily like coaching CrossFit, but getting that conversation with people that are sure like general population, but they're like recreational athletes that they really enjoy pushing themselves and getting to certain performance goals that it's kind of what I align with in a way. It's not necessarily the same movements, but I align with that a lot. And so I found like it's a good population for me to work with, basically. Yeah. I figured that out after years of personal training.
And hating on CrossFit.
Yeah, I had my time. I'll admit it. I was a hater. Yeah. But it's just I was ignorant. It's different, you know.
Yeah.
And then you get into it, and you're like, oh, it's not that bad. Like
not
I'm
bad,
just
yeah.
I'm just hating. That's it.
So you heard it, folks. He'll be doing CrossFit soon.
See you next year for the games.
um, okay, so you touched on something earlier where you were saying how for people that get stuck, you know, we have this open door to like jump in and find a trainer, and how sometimes for us as personal trainers, we're gonna meet athletes who are gonna work with us, and we're gonna be like, this person and I just aren't on the same page. It doesn't work, but it takes taking the risk to see if that's even an opportunity, right? Or if it's something that could work for both of you. Because I've been doing PT now for like 3 or 4 years. Before that, I was just managing gyms. But when I got into PT, it was the same, right? I went through at least, I'm gonna say, 10 different people who, you know, worked with me for about a month, and then it was like, no, we're not on the same page, or maybe I just wasn't ready to like commit. And I remember this specific time was when I was at Miami Beach. I did some private training before that. This was post New York, or in New York I started doing PT too, but even then I had a lot of churn, right? It wasn't like I was able to retain clients. And that could be
That's
a
the nature of the
maturity
business
thing. Yeah. It could
when
be,
you start,
understanding the business, how to retain clients, all that stuff. But so if it's a process for us to find athletes that work well with us, like what advice would you give someone who's never done PT, who's like, number one, I don't know if it's worth the investment. I already have access to classes. Why should I hire a personal trainer when I have coaches here?
Right.
And maybe even someone who's a little kind of hesitant, because like you said earlier, there is more that goes into the hour other than just training. Like there is conversation, and sometimes it's hard conversation. Sometimes it's real conversation that digs deeper into why you hired me in the first place, right? So like, what advice would you give to someone who's never tried it, and is on the edge
Of like hiring a coach?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's the two biggest thing that I always talk about is the accountability factor, because you're making an investment. So 9 times out of 10, you're gonna follow through. And having that individualized attention is priceless. You have no idea as a member how big of a difference, until you commit, how big of a difference there is between the 30-second attention you get during your CrossFit class versus a whole hour just for you. That's insane. With the skill sets we have, the coaches here, there's so much we can teach you in just an hour. So imagine you're just doing a few one-offs, you're gonna be better off than like, I don't know how many classes of whatever you want to do. That's the biggest component. And also you have someone you can go back and forth with on what you're here for, basically. As far as either the session or the coach itself, or just your lifelong journey that you want to get into. I believe that it's really game-changing getting a personal trainer. And even us coaches, right? At times we will hire coaches for ourselves because, first of all, it's the less stress on us to like having to work for ourselves, basically.
Correct.
But also, it's that shift in perspective and accountability factor. Because you get so focused on being used to working on one thing one way, and what if there's other ways that work better for you? But I think the goal of personal training is also education. Like you should learn something out of it, outside of just like basic exercises, but also like training philosophy and how to train and why. Like for example, I think that, if you do personal training for say like 6 months, at least by then, if you don't know, you should at least understand why you're working out the way you do. Like why is this kind of always that exercise order or the structure of the sessions? Like you should see some sort of consistency
Yeah, you're just more
into
educated.
what things look like.
You're a little bit more
That's it.
educated about the
Yeah.
how, the why,
Yeah.
the what. Right?
Exactly. Because your goal is not necessarily to do personal training forever. Your goal is to learn to be independent eventually.
Correct.
All right?
Yeah. Love that. Number one, I'm a coach whore, right? Like I just go from one to another. And I'm like, I want to learn from you, and what do you do, and how do you do it? And then I'm like, okay, that's great. Now, awesome. Let me learn from this guy, and that's why I do it, because I want the education, right? I want to know how people are doing it, what the process is like. But there is one thing that I think separates this online training piece versus the in-person. And it's not necessarily just the accountability thing, because coaches online can hold you accountable, but it's building relationship, right? Like I've never had a coach where they're like, hey, good, the movements are great, here's some feedback, by the way, how are you doing? Like, how's your family doing? How are you dealing with the situation that you told me about a month ago? And when you're in person, you're able to build that kind of relationship, right? It's like a strong bond. Like sometimes, let's say you're doing 2 sessions a week, that's 2 hours out of your week, or 3 sessions a week, that's 3 hours out of your week. Like sometimes that's more than the time that you spend with your friends, right? And it's an hour of just, hey, we're here to work together towards a bigger goal. And if there's something in the way of that bigger goal, for example, a stressor in your life, or an injury, or just something that you're working through career-wise, relationship-wise, like those conversations come up, and that's the big difference from having an online coach to an in-person coach.
For sure.
And so finding a place, a safe space where you can do that, which is what I believe we've done a really good job at creating here, allows people to have access to that. So, and again, I think you're doing an amazing job at that. I've seen you retain most of the clients you work with. I've seen you in very short periods of time create amazing, long-lasting relationships with people. Like you guys just click. And that's great advice, man. I think it is the fact that we want people to be independent is the most powerful part of what we do, because I don't want to keep a client forever, even though I've had clients that have been with me for 5 years. Hey, nothing against that. Like I like these people. If we get along and we have
at that point,
a bond, you go.
It's like a friend,
Exactly. So you're getting paid to hang out with your friends, but if it works. But you're right. Like there will be people that just come through, and then, man, I'll get messages a year later of like, dude, the time with you was invaluable. Like, thank you so much. I learned so much. Like, I can think of one person right now who ended up moving. He had a really crazy story on how his life got turned upside down. He's living out in Europe now and sends me a message like, dude, without the 3 months that I spent with you, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now. And sends me a picture of him in the gym, like squatting heavy, snatching, like doing the thing. And this guy could have just given up and
live a completely different life.
Yeah, just giving up, period. And he's out there doing the thing because he learned so much during the time we had together. And I think it's not just me, it's you, it's Louis, it's Jojo that can offer that, and the coaches that are going to be coming on board as well. Which, by the way, I want to bring up, for those people that may be interested in becoming a coach here, like one thing that I'm seeing, a pattern that I'm seeing here, not just with me, Louis, and the story you just told about how you came on board, like it does take a certain extent of sacrifice, because there's a process to the thing. And there's a process to not just getting the role, but also ingraining yourself into what we're trying to create here. And what I like about where we are right now, it's that it's not easy to get here.
No.
Like it takes work, it takes effort, it takes will to like become a part of what we're trying to create. And I think the same goes for our members, right? Like it shouldn't be a very unintentional practice of like just showing up and, oh yeah, I'm just going through the motions, and like, fuck that. That's not enough, dude. And we're going to call you out on that shit when you're on the floor, because we want to get the most out of the time that you're investing here. And coaches like you, Louis, all of our coaches do that really well. So big shout out to you. Anything else you want to hit on? I think my client's here, but
I think that's it. I think we're good. Yeah.
my
yeah.
guy, good
That's
shit,
tough
G.
to do.
All right, we'll do more of this. If we end up posting this whole thing, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. But you can expect more of this kind of stuff. Cool. Woo.
All right.
Dope.